What's up, guys? Bonafide Hustler here. Hopefully you can see me. Give me 1 second. Let me get the cameras all good here. But it's good to see everybody. It's not working very well. Hold on. Okay. I don't know if you can see my camera. Yes or no. Let me know. Let me get this thing configured, and then we'll get this show started on. This show is my eBay selling my top 5 picks, and this was actually inspired by a comment. So yeah, here we go. All right. So we got the actual feed going on right here. Sorry about that. You know, you can rehearse all you want on these Google shows, and then something always goes wrong. But anyway, so yeah, my eBay selling. You know, this is stuff that I've definitely messed with, and these are my top 5 picks of, and I'll explain why I wanted to do this show. There was a comment yesterday in the feed on one of my live hangouts. And the comment was, hey, Bonafide, kind of new. I think it was like kind of new to your channel, but if you could like whittle it down to like 5 things that has low risk, you know, no barriers to entry, and you know, provides really intense like profits. You know, I sat there and I thought about that for like a whole day, and I was like, what would my 5 be? And so that's what this show is about. This show is about my top 5 picks. Like each and every time I get these, they always do well. So you might see some repeats, right, of videos in the past or hints in the past. But we'll go a little bit more in depth in this show, and that way I can kind of show you exactly on eBay the markets that we're talking about, teach you guys a little bit about these things, and hopefully you can attain some of these incredible profits. But yeah, each of these 5 things, anytime I get around these things, it always means a pretty decent sum of money in the end and extremely low risk. In fact, there's probably no risk. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this content. Okay, so it's about to go down. That's right, Thriftology. What's up, Garrett? Good to see you. What's up, Dresner? There should be sound now. Said no sound, but there should be sound. Let me know if the sound is good, guys, because we would never want to go through this show. I could sit there and be like, and you would never know what these 5 things would be, right? So that would suck. But this will be a screen share type show, so we're gonna go right into eBay and we're gonna look at that kind of stuff. So what's up, DJ? Good to see you. What's up, River City Creative? Bits and Pieces. Oh, my first live stream with Bonafide. Bits and Pieces, man. Let's welcome Bits and Pieces. So what's up, Bits and Pieces? I wonder if someone else will welcome you. I bet you they will. We got some really good peeps in the comment feeds. Surprise Dumpster Marcus is not here. Any of those people? Who else are we missing? Stone? Is Stone in here? We got some like super Bonafide peeps that like always show up to my shows. We see some people like not even getting the content already, 6 upvotes on the video. So you know what? If you're hearing this content and you're like liking it and you want more of these things, just trust me. I always look at my upvotes as the most important metric to do like the next show type thing. So, so yeah, all right. So, and so we got someone from Ireland here too. That's even better. So, okay, so let's talk about, let's get the screen share going and see if this works okay. Let's get into the eBay thing. Present to everyone. The very first thing, we have heard this before, and trust me, there's gonna be a lot of repeat here on this show, but we're gonna go a little bit more in depth on this show. That way, you know, instead of just me saying, Hi8, you know, Sony camcorders, blah, blah, like it's important to understand really why. So I'm on page, like, I think maybe 2 or 3 on this thing now, or 3. So, you know, I'm still on page, and you can imagine, let's go to how many items per page. Let's go and, sorry, I'm kind of whizzing by here. Let's go to 200 items per page. All right, so this is page 1 essentially. And the reason why you want to look for these is because anytime you find these things, whether it be a thrift store or a garage sale, they're going to be cheap. They're going to be like $10 and less almost every time. Now, if you find it with cases and all kinds of extra tapes, it might be like 20 bucks, but you can still, if you're a good hustler and you got great negotiation skills, you should be able to get it for 10 bucks, okay? Now, I like Hi8, which is different than normal 8mm, okay? Because Hi8 has a different, it has a different video quality to it because of the S-video port on the side. Hopefully, someone's saying, Garrett, my screen is super blurry. What do you guys think? Can you guys see all this kind of stuff? I mean, I'm not scrolling very fast now, but hopefully my screen is okay. Let me make sure on the other one. Yeah, you guys can see it, right? Okay, cool. Thank you, Garrett. So, yeah, so Hi8 means normal 8mm cassette, you know, the size of the cassette. In fact, I have one right here. Let me show you one of those. 1 second. All right, so we have a Hi8 cassette right here. That's what it kind of looks like. It looks just like a normal 8mm cassette, except it's Hi8, right? You can store a better picture. Hi8 camcorders look a little bit like this. As you can see, here's one in a bag that I still have yet to test out and everything like that, but it will be going out. It has a pull-away screen and all that kind of stuff. Very easy things to hustle. So first of all, let's talk about why the Hi8. You know, it's a higher video quality, and people like to do transfers. They like to get their you know, VCR tapes to a higher quality. They like to take their 8mm cassettes and maybe put it to DVD, for example, and the only way you can do that is through a Hi8 player. So these things, we'll actually take this one out. This wasn't really even part of the show, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'll do it for likes. No. So here's the Hi8 one, right? And this is they're all going to say Handycam. Some say Handycam Vision. There are a couple of things that you really want to look for when you mess with these things. All right. So the very first thing is make sure that it works. So you plug in basically the back here, because a lot of times the battery on these things is going to be shot. Okay, it's going to be totally shot. So you want to plug in the thing to the back right here. Once you plug it in, you have a triple selector switch right here, which is on the back. All right, there's only actually 2 or 3 directions it goes to on this one. Since it doesn't have what's called a camera mode, it only has basically, actually this is a lock and standby mode. The actual one is up somewhere around here. Hold on real quick, let me make sure. This is a little bit different than all the other ones. Here it is. So it has a triple switch kind of mode. One is off, one is camera, and one is to basically VTR, or basically I believe that's the play function of this camera. Most of all the play stuff on these cameras is going to be up top right here. There should be like a little, how do I say it? Like when you press the eject button, the tape comes out from over here. The reason why you want to mess with Hi8 besides the video quality is, you know, it's a really, how do I say, it's a medium that was very, very, very like around for many years, right? In fact, I was working at Circuit City when this was like at its peak, and so it was doing very well. And everyone was like, let me, you know, Sony camcorders. Let me have a Sony camcorder, you know, a Hi8. Set me up with a monster cable, and if possible, you know, whatever else I need to bring it into, you know, editing or something like that. So there are a couple of things that you want to look for. One is that it's Sony. This is very important. Second is you want to find it with night shot, and it's like kind of perverted, the reason why, but like apparently night shot on some things you can see through clothing. So don't know if that's the reason why people are buying it. Most people are probably buying these because you can actually take the Hi8 to a DVD, play it through. This is basically a player. Like you can think of this as a VCR. And essentially that's what they do. Like you can play it back on the screen, which sometimes there's a fold-out screen, and sometimes there won't be. And if there's not a fold-out screen, you would have to view everything through this right here. But outside of that, once you power it up, you know, you select whether you want to be on camera mode or playback mode. If you're on camera mode, then essentially you press the record switch, as long as it's not, you know, as long as it's unlocked. You press the record switch. You should see a REC on the top, little blinking thing. When you switch it to night shot to test that out, it'll turn green. There's a menu on the back as well. Like once you open this up, you'll get a menu function. If you want to hit the menu, there's a menu button right here. And then there's a little scrolling thing right here on the back of it, right by the cord. And this scrolling thing is what helps you go through the menu. And if you press the scrolling thing in, it actually is the selection button. It's like the enter. So you scroll around and you press in, and then it selects something. But yeah, you want to test out the menu. You want to test out the scroller. You want to test out the eject mechanism. Works about 10 times. That's really important, not just once. So 10 times eject the tape up and down. And then after that, you know, you probably want to have a Hi8 cassette. So if you ever come across one of these things at a garage sale, and this is typical, you'll find it with a couple extra cassettes and all that kind of stuff. Keep a cassette for yourself, okay? And you can record over and over and over the thing. But keep one for yourself at least. And that way you can test every one of these that comes around. The batteries are probably going to be shot. Like I've never come across one where the battery just lasted forever. It just doesn't happen. So, you know, disclosing that as a fair kind of statement, like, hey, don't know how much charge the battery really has on it. You know, it's the old battery, but it comes with a power cord, very important. The reason why I like these handy cams is because even in broken status, they still fetch like, you know, north of 40 bucks, like pretty quickly. In fact, I don't think I've ever sold a single one of these like less than 50 bucks. So if you're buying it for 10 bucks and the worst case scenario is 50 bucks, that's really pretty good, right? But the best case scenario is to sell it for 80, 90, 100, maybe 119 on eBay. And then if you decide you're brave enough, you want to go to FBA, which I've done with many of them, then you can go the FBA route. But the more complete ones, the more cosmetically intact and badass they look, that's probably the one you want to put to FBA, right? Certain other models of these Hi8s will have an actual light up front, which this one needs an attachable light, so you know, or a light that attaches right here. If you ever want to know, like, where's the S-video port? How do I hook it up to a TV? There's a little panel right here. Usually pull it back, and all your panels stuff right there. You can just output these directly into a TV, switch it to video 1, video 2, whatever you have. Press play on the camcorder, right? In order for it to work, it has to be in the play setting right here on the selector switch. It can't be on the camera setting. It has to be on the play setting. And then it'll project right on your TV. So that's kind of like a tutorial really quickly on how this thing kind of works. Remember, you can find them with or without screens, but Sony Hi8 is the key. That's the main thing. So there you go right there. I still have to test that one out. I mean, very few end up being broken. And if it's broken, okay, if it is, it'll almost always be the eject mechanism. Okay, so if you eject it once, it comes out fine. You want to eject it like 10 times, okay? Just to make sure it can do it repeatedly. Okay. All right. Let's go into the feed here. Not the feed, but I want to go into the screen share and talk to you guys about this. So let's look at the market right here, okay? Now, you might find some of these, the PAL ones, right? The PAL ones, those are definitely more valuable than others. And you'll only kind of know that by searching the model number. But most of the ones you'll find will be TRV 340s, 120s. You'll find these like out there. They have a whole lot of model numbers, but they almost look alike. And let's take a look here. 103, a 320. I've hustled like literally like almost every one of these models, but they look almost identical. 520. So there's some newer ones that are a little bit more compact. Here's one right here, right? Actually, that's a digital 8, so that's actually a really good one. But yeah, these like they get a little bit more snazzy and more compact. But the ones that you're probably likely to find is like the one I just showed you, like this kind. If you find it like super intact with all this stuff, like this, in my opinion, it should have been an FBA. If it's testing out and it's perfect, right? Accessories, all that kind of stuff, this belongs on FBA because this right here would have probably sold for like $229 or so on FBA. But just, you know, you can kind of see like what's going on right here. There's some digital 8 ones, records, transfer, like records and transfer are very kind of good keywords to put on eBay, right? If you want to put video transfer, see these all say video transfer. Yeah, so that's an important kind of thing. Here's another one, video transfer, recorder, you know, digital 8 or Hi8. Digital 8, my guess is it's 500 lines of resolution. Maybe it's coming out at a way, like maybe component video or something like that. But usually, I think I exited Circuit City right when the digital 8s were coming in. So I was more accustomed to Hi8s. But maybe that's the reason why I know them so well. So let's keep going down. And we have some more down here, digital 8, Hi8, 8. We want to get into the Hi8s itself. As long as, see, these say digital, but I think digital like classified it for 500 lines of resolution. So, yeah, maybe digital is just some random word that they put in there. But essentially, Hi8s are 420 lines of resolution, and you're more than likely going to find the most common one out there. I'll show you real quick. This one's really common, the TRV 138. You'll see that out there, and you'll see. Let me see here if I can find it for you. Yeah, we're starting to get into the price range of where many shake out. You can see that this market is just ginormous. Look, I mean, I'm scrolling so many times and we're still over here. TRV 510, something you'll find out there quite a bit. There are the TRV 67. This one right here is out there all the time. So you can kind of see if you have this kind of layout, and usually you'll find them at garage sales with bags. They'll be in bags and they'll have a remote. If it has a remote, right? Because some don't have a remote and some do. Some have that option. So like as they have higher models, the remote starts coming on there, the integrated front light comes in there, night shot, sometimes super night shot, you know, extended battery, there's all kinds of things. But what we have here is the power cables. We have a battery, we have the audio video cable, we have 2 batteries for likely the remote, which is here. We have an adapter lens ring right there, and a manual right here, and then just like the intro to Sony's products kind of guide right there. So this is really complete. This is a really good one. But as we can see, there's a remote right there, an extra tape on that one, 2 extra batteries, what looks to be like a external battery charger maybe right there, the AC wall plug unit for that thing right there, audio video cables right here, and some looks like a Lowy Pro maybe bag right there. So yeah, you know, if you start getting these completes like this, start thinking, let me test this thing out. Let me make sure it records. And then once you record something on it, make sure it plays back. And then list it. See, here's what the integrated light looks like right there. So You know, as the models get better, something the integrated light gets put in there. And so that's kind of the explanation of that market right there. Really good thing you guys have to get into a TRV 520. I've found this one so many times over. This was a good one. I've found 320s. I mean, anyway. So yeah. So when you look at the bottom of this, if you're like, what model number do I have? The bottom will always tell you, and sometimes on the side it says it. But usually it's a CCD TR or a TRV something. So if you look at this TRV, TRV, some are TRVs, some are TRs like this one. Here's a TR. And essentially that's what it is. And some are DCR TRVs and so on. So, all right, so that's basically it. Hopefully you guys are hearing this. Man, all people have like sound problems. Are you guys still hearing me? Hopefully you guys are, right? I gotta make sure. I tend to get really, really sucked up into like explaining stuff, and I don't look at the feed very much. But okay, so we're good there. Good. The next one I want to go into depth with you guys. Let me get it ready over here. We're gonna go into the 5 models of ASICS shoes that I love, so that way you kind of know. Okay. God, there's just 51,000 results for ASICS shoes. Oh my gosh. So that's really good. Let's see what's going on with the comment feed right here. Okay, we're good. We're good. Cool. All right. All right, cool, good. All right, so let's go into the ASICS things. Let me get this kind of set up, but it's gonna take not a while, but I wanna make sure I get all the metrics right so that you guys see the right exact you know, market here. Present to everyone. Okay, so here we have the main screen. We've all seen this screen before. In order to see the market on what really sells, we go to solds, we go to used. It's very hard to find some new ones. I mean, you can go to the outlet malls and throw them to FBA. I don't know if ASICS is restricted or not. I've never sold them on FBA. I've always sold them on eBay. And I've never found a truly, truly brand new pair, but anyway, price with shipping, highest first. What am I doing? Here. Okay, so here we are, ASICS shoes. So we have the things highest first, we have used, and we have sold listings right there, okay? So let's look at like what you can find, okay? So ASICS, the number one most common that you need to look for, okay? Number one is Nimbus. This is it. Whoops, Nimbus. All right, Nimbus women's, Nimbus men's, doesn't matter. It seems to go up to about 18. Every year Nimbus makes a different model, so there's 18, 17, 16, 15, blah, 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 all the way. So let's go into here. Looks like maybe 16 or 17 might be the most current. But yeah, you can kind of tell right here. Look at the more colorful a Nimbus will be. I mean, you're talking crazy, crazy, crazy good money. I've actually hustled this one before in pretty bad condition, and I got like 70 bucks for it. This one's really, really cool looking actually, but it's a women's shoe, of course. I've hustled many of these. So let's go into like, these look like just stock listings from some shoe seller online, or so it looks like Australia, right? So let's go into what would be more maybe USA type sellers, and we'll start seeing some pictures from actual people that could likely be hustlers, like maybe this person, that person. But we can see as, you know, as the colors get kind of wild, you know, up there becomes the price as well. There's some really nice ones out there, but the Nimbus is one of the most important shoes to look for, and this market is humongous. I mean, huge market for these shoes, but you want to get good lighting on, of course. Even for very plain kind of things. To me, this is kind of a plain color, and this is still selling for really good. Why this is new and this in the used section, I don't know, but let's take a look and keep looking down. Did I put new? There's no way I did. Hold on. Let me make 100% sure. Why did that default out? Okay, so let's go back to used. And here we go. We got a bunch of people's. Okay, this is more like it. I was like really confused. Okay, so as we can see, we have Nimbus 18s. You know, the colors get kind of crazy, but still 8 bids. When you're messing with these shoes, the key is don't do auctions, right? If these are 150 new, like shoot for 119 or 129, use best offer and put your store on sale. That's the way to do it right there. And I would involve free shipping. That way you get all these things together to help you like rise in the feed. Because 83 for this, like you could probably get a lot more for that. I mean, but essentially you want to look for this model right here, ASICS Nimbus, very important. All the issues I've ever seen with ASICS all the time have been back here, okay? Excessive, I guess it's called heel wear, but it's not really heel. It's more like the Achilles heel. I guess it's heel wear, but yeah, right around there, that's the #1 place for wear on these shoes. Outside of that, really, you know, underneath it, that's basically it. But you know, most of the ones that you'll see that sell for good money, of course, are going to be pretty decent condition. Let's look at this one, worn once. So worn once, you should see some nubs. We see the nubs on the nubs right there, so that's good. Better picture. It's a pretty good looking shoe, right? That's an easy $100 in my book. I don't know how much this person sold it on theirs, but yeah, we're getting close to $100 on that one. So you want to look for the Nimbus. The other model you want to look for is this one, the Kinsei. This one's really good. All right, so you can see that Kinseis are super, super expensive. When we go to the used, it's going to be a lot smaller of a market than the Nimbus, because this is a more expensive shoe altogether. So it's a little bit more hard to find. I've sold these before in pretty terrible condition for like, I can't remember. I want to say it was maybe 80 or 90 bucks. Pretty bad condition. Look at that. Like in good condition, it's this, but pretty bad condition. I still did pretty well. That was about a year and a couple months ago, or a year and a couple months. I've actually run in basically these. You know, I ran in those one time because I thought they would be so sweet, but I didn't realize the fact that I could have sold them for like a ton of money, but I bought them from a Goodwill for like 19 bucks. They were pretty good running shoes, but they did wear down pretty fast. So that's the actual Kinsei. You want to look for those. The other one that's really, really, really good, okay, is the ASICS Kayano, which is sitting right there. When we go into used, the ASICS Kayano are just monsters of shoes. I mean, these are super expensive. But yeah, the Kayano 22s, we can see right there. Are we on used? I want to make 100% sure. Yeah, used. So as you can see, Kayanos are a little bit more rare too, and they're still fetching some good money. I feel like all my things are going off for some reason. All right, here we go. Gosh. All right, so there we see the Kayanos are easily $100 shoes. So if you find them in good condition, Kayanos are great $100 shoes. Big market for them, so if you want to get out at any price, you could. The other one you want to look for is Nusa. Important. Used. There was a day on eBay where like you didn't have to keep doing all this, but anyway, I wonder why it's happening right now. Nusas are always very colorful, okay, and they're always going to fetch really good money, north of 50 usually. So when we keep going down, we're still at the 73 mark right here, and we keep going, and we can see like it gets hard to get to a $50 mark without being a billion of these shoes. So gel Noosa is a really good one. You'll probably see a lot of these. I see a lot of these in Austin. They just happen to be really worn. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting type shoe to mess with. I've never hustled this one, that one, this one, that one. All the ones I see have been these, like this one right here. I've seen this one before. I've hustled these many times over, like this exact color scheme right there. So yeah, I've seen these in stores, but they've been like crazy worn down. This is usually the color scheme you'll find. The other one that you want to check out, there's one called Gel 2000, I want to say. I think it's this one. This one's pretty good too. So yeah, GT 2000s. So essentially the 2000s, if you find a good one, even if you find like the breast cancer one, which I think that's, you wouldn't believe it, but like some of the blue ones are breast cancer ones, and those are pretty good. But yeah, Gel 2000s are pretty good. Not bad, right? Pretty good sold range, 18 bids for 2 of them. We have 19 bids for a single one. That's pretty good. You know, if you're buying these things for $10 and less at a garage sale, well, a garage sale would probably be $5 and less. At a thrift store, they're $10 and less. I mean, you can still get really good money. Remember, this show is all about the top 5 picks, like of things that I'm like, wow, whenever I find this, I'm just like, oh, instant cash. This is great. So that's the 5th one right there. So we went through Nimbus, we went through Kayano, Kinsei, GT 2000. There is one more, but I can't remember it now. So maybe you guys get 4, or maybe I did. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys got enough. That's pretty good. You guys understand the ASICS pretty well. Just buy them. Make sure to look at the back of the heel. Okay, like back here. Take a look back there if it doesn't look too worn. The other place it'll wear down that I've noticed will be in the tongue, like right where the actual the sticker is. Right, that shows you the size and like the width. That'll be on the tongue. That'll kind of tell you if the tongue has cracked, then it means it's, you know, it's got some wear to it, but it's still not game over. You know, game over is only when the bottom doesn't look that good. When you have nubs on nubs, it's great. If you have even slight, no more nubs showing, still pretty good. But when you have no nubbies showing, plus that thing's cracked up there, and maybe a little bit of heel wear, I wouldn't touch it. Okay, So let's go to the next one real quick. You guys having fun? Let me go into the comment feed, shout some people out real quick because we got some people in the feed. We got 48 viewers in the house. What is going on? Good to see you. What's up, Texas Gal Treasures? Good to see you. Comfort Zone Studio says, please remember us, the little people, when you conquer the world. I don't think I'm going to be conquering the world. I'm not a bona fide Napoleon yet, but maybe one day, right? And I'll never forget about the people that helped me get here, of course. So we have Texas Gal Treasures in the house, Sunny S, Thriftology. Thriftology says, I like ASICS because of the broad spectrum of buyers from young to old. Lots of buyers. Yeah, that market's huge, huge market. Great info from Josie. Thank you so much. Got Comfort Zone Studio in the house, bits and pieces. Jose de Paz, Jennifer M. What's up? Brian Huntsman. Vegetables GR. And Garrett, Outdoor Wrangler. Lots of familiar faces. Thank you so much for being here. DRN Superstore USA. It is good to see you as well. Cool. Brandon English, Dresner. Okay. So there we go. Thank you, by the way, for watching the show. Okay, let's get into the next one. Get into my screen shares. I'm going to find the screen share program. All right. So the next one I want to show you. Now, this one was something that was actually taught to me by a fellow green room admin. And since then, I found, I don't know, probably about 10 of them. So let's look these up. Hopefully you guys know about this, but if you don't, there's a great bolo. I put Z, right? Isn't that crazy? I put Z and it automatically goes, and I put C and it automatically goes to Z-Coil. So Z-Coils are really, really cool. You definitely want to be looking at these because I have found these half and half, thrift stores and garage sales, like half thrift stores, half garage sales. So go to the used ones. We'll do what we're supposed to do here. Make sure everything's unsold. Yes. And you're probably not going to find these, okay? I'll tell you right now. Probably won't find this. You might find that one, though. But you want to look for, like, the all blacks, the all browns. And then, of course, there's one that's very stereotypical, but it's like the white with the blue on it. And I'll show you here in a second. So here's all blacks. All right, it's a Walker. Here's the all browns for the most part. More all blacks, all blacks, all blacks. All blacks. Doesn't look like much, right? Maybe you think these are like jump shoes or whatever, but actually they're not. They're pain relief orthopedic shoes. So when you're doing your keywords, you want to make sure you put orthopedic, therapeutic, or orthotic. Therapeutic, orthopedic, wow, pain relief. Yeah, you want to put that. Very, very important. So we can see that the black, the brown, those are always the ones at the top, okay? The ones you're more likely to find, and I've hustled the black ones, I've hustled the brown ones, but I've found more of these. Okay, this, it's called the Freedom. So this one's the white and the blue one. This is the one you'll probably found. I've found maybe like one or two. I found like one brown, two blacks, and the rest have been these. And there's even one more kind of, it's not rare, but it's like a color scheme that I've never seen before, but it just wasn't worth as much money as I thought. But essentially, Z-Coil, the proposition here is to try to get in for 10 and less and sell it for 50 plus. I haven't had a single one go less than 50, even really terrible Z-Coil, like it's just 50 bucks, right? So this is important to see, like the Freedom ones, right? Look at those. They make some sandal ones. Never found those before, but mostly it's the black and brown ones. But you'll start to see that the white ones will start coming in after a certain range. See how they start coming in? Because the white ones are definitely in that more $50 to $70 range. So we've got some more white ones there. Start seeing them again right here. 12 bids, 76. Look at that. And I have found some of these at garage sales for like $1 or $2. It's crazy. So all whites. There's even one that looks like hikers like this. Never found those before, but I know that they exist. I mean, this is a crazy big market. I'm probably 10 scrolls down. I'm still here at this price. Like I said, this is the one you want to look for. I've never found them with excessive wear. So either the people wear them for a while and their pain goes away, then they stop wearing them, but I've never found them with excessive wear. I have found them with scuffs on the side. And I just take some Barkeeper's Friend and some water and I wipe the scuffs away. Apparently there's a thing called like shoe white or something. I've never messed with it, but you could probably apply it to this shoe. And yeah, oh, these are the other colorways I was talking about right here. So when I sold my last pair of these kind of colorways, I think it was like 50 bucks or maybe 59 or something like that. Essentially, I've never sold one less than 50 bucks. So pretty good thing right here. Zero, pretty much zero risk. Some really good turnaround. My very first ones I flipped, like sold from like, I think 89 or something like that. The very first ones I ever found, like I was like, holy crap, I cannot believe it. So that's a real good one to know about. Z-Coil shoes. They look like jumping basketball shoes, but they're not. Remember, therapeutic, orthopedic, however you say it, orthotic. Yeah, pain relief, very important. So if you don't have those keywords, you can kind of see as we're getting lower here, pain relief becomes the only keyword. Don't know why these people are not putting good keywords, but essentially you want to put the, see, you can take a look at the keywords here, and just women's black leather married to pain relief. That's the only keyword they put in there, right? But you come up here, and look how much better the keywords get up here, right? We have, where's one right here? These are all selling for pretty good, but we have pain relief. Cushion is a good one. I've always put pain relief. I always put orthopedic for some reason. Maybe that's not the right word. And then I put therapeutic or something like that. Orthotic may be it. But yeah, so you want to get all the good keywords in there. Got to put Z-Coil in there as well. So that's one right there. Pain management, there's another one. Pain relief, back pain. Definitely a good thing. Did you guys know about that? I'm really curious. Did you guys know about these shoes? Let me know. Very curious. We'll go into the next one. Now, the next one, I know if you're a bona fide hustler fanatic, you know about this next one. But I'm going to just show you. I'm going to whittle it down to like maybe the three that you should just be on the lookout for all the time. Okay. So we've heard this in many videos, but you know, I got asked the question yesterday. Hey, bona fide, what is relatively low to get into, has high return, and is basically no risk? And I was like, this immediately got on my list. So hopefully you guys know. You should know by now. I'm curious to know if any one of the 48 people that are watching right now have actually taken my advice and actually flipped one of these things. Okay, so here it comes. We all know this is that I love these things, but science behind flipping them is a little, not complex, but it might be kind of scary. So we're going to go into crawler bodies. I love talking about these things. You're not going to find them new. You're going to find them used. You want to remember two brands that are really good for crawler bodies. One is called New Bright, okay, and one is called Nikko, Nikko. New Bright has a lot of the tough crawler bodies that everyone wants to put on their crawlers. So what a crawler is a radio-controlled car that looks like a scale car. And in fact, if you go on YouTube and you type in, you know, crawler, off-road, whatever, you're going to see all these videos where the camera is strategically placed in certain angles to where you almost think this is a real freaking Jeep, like going through the wild, right? It looks so much like the real thing, but that's what the whole hobby is, right? It's making a truck like this, making it look as scale as possible, like as real as possible. I mean, this is pretty real looking to me. This looks like an not a C10 or something like that. We'll look into this guy's crawler, but you can see like he's even put scratches on it and all this kind of stuff, right down to the grill. The guards are different. So when it gets really, really intense, I mean, they get really, really weird looking. They have all kinds of accessories and stuff. Like, look at this one. We're gonna look at this one real quick. So this is a really good, like, nice custom one, obviously. But pay attention, like, look how intricate this is, right? This is a freaking, like, almost ARB bumper with a worn winch. I mean, that is pretty intricate when you think about it. Working lights, right? We have a dude in there who looks like Bruce Lee. Kind of looks like Bonafide Hustler, minus 20 pounds. We have a shovel on the side that even has scuff marks at the end of it. And then right next to it is an axe, or right under it. I mean, you can kind of see what's going on here. So this hobby is to make it look as real as possible, right? And to be able to endure a trail with your friends if you're just, you know, dicking around or whatever. But if you start looking more into this Jeep, I haven't pre-looked at any of this, but I can just tell what's going on. But you can kind of see underneath, it looks real close to like the real thing, right? I mean, it looks like a real vehicle. Rancho suspension sticker on a basic little, that's a tie rod. That's not even a suspension. That's just like a piece of a tie rod or something. But you can see like the hobby and what it is. Look how intricate this is, right? It has an engine compartment where you put all the wires. And behind the dude, there's a gas can, a seat, some rope. Someone actually out there in America sat for some minutes, burned up these minutes and made rope. that looks like a real thing. Look at that. The bottom of it has that diamond plating thing to it. A fire extinguisher, what looks to be like a compass maybe or something, I don't know. Real gauges, the dude's hand is on the shifter. Four-wheel drive and locker shifters as well. And this dude has a single crown, maybe double crown, like on his head. Like, this is serious stuff, guys. Like, you know, this hobby is legit. So I got into it for a little bit, but I never got into like the decorating of my car or anything. But I did do the actual crawling and stuff with some friends, and it was pretty fun. And I still have a crawler in my house, but these are really crazy. So the reason why this market exists and why it's so good, and don't pay attention to these prices. When you see intact vehicles, that's not what we're going for here. What I want you guys to find is the body, okay, that these people end up buying to put on their vehicles. Because when you buy them from the manufacturer, like when you go to Axial's website, which is one of the leading crawler manufacturers in America, when you go to the website, you see all these awesome crawlers, and they're mostly molded after Jeeps and, you know, Toyota Tacomas. But the bodies are really thin and crappy. In fact, this is probably one of them. So you can see how thin this body is. This is not a very thick body. And what I say by that is, like, when we actually take a look, maybe with the body off, if there's a picture, probably won't be. Here we go. You can kind of see underneath. This body is pretty thin. It's a pretty thin body, right? And you can kind of tell with this. So when you go off-roading and everything, these little thin bodies, like, they just don't hold up after time, right? The car flexes, and a lot of times you'll see where those pins are on top of the hood. The hood will start cracking in that one place. When the wheel articulates into the fender, sometimes you start getting some broken pieces, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you basically need a tougher body. Problem is, Axial and some of these other crawler brands have never built a really good body. So the secondary market is very much alive with the body, and you have to find it. But there happens to be two manufacturers that made consumer-grade remote control or radio-controlled cars. They called them crawlers, but they really sucked. But the bodies ended up being really good. And so the hobby-grade market, which are these people, right, they go to that cheap market and they try to just get the body off the cheap truck, right, because it's a stronger body. So this is one of the companies that you can find at Kmart, you can find it at Target, Sears, and they make crawlers that are in see-through boxes, and it gets all the kids enticed, but when you actually try to play with them, they really suck. And so New Bright is very important as a brand, and we can just put New Bright crawl, look at that, see, like it just starts defaulting to what I want to look for. New Bright crawler body, right? And you just want the body off the New Bright thing. And in fact, if I can find a picture of what it really looks like, a New Bright crawler would look like, let me show you. Look like this. This is what it comes like. It comes looking like this, okay? Like when you buy it at Walmart or Target or Kmart, first of all, it was probably like $100. So even if you find it intact like this at a garage sale, you could sell it for this much. No, but I guarantee you the person that bought this just wanted the body. Because when you just put the body up, right, it's basically $200. That's the most wanted body out there, is the New Bright Jeep Wrangler body. Just the body, right? 4 screws, unscrew it, throw the body in a box, make a listing, boom, money, right? You want to put good keywords, Axial, Tamiya, it's Valterra, not Vatera, but RC, four-wheel drive crawler. You got to have all these good keywords, because that's what makes this person win, you know, over one of these people down here. I'll show you another Jeep one that didn't do it right, probably. Here we go. This one didn't do it that great, but it's okay. New Bright Jeep JK Wrangler body scalar crawler. Scalar, not a good word. Scale, yes, but not scalar. That doesn't really exist. Crawler, good word. Missing the word SCX10 Axial. Axial makes this one called SCX10, which is a very, very good tested crawler that you can buy right off their site. It's like $400, but it has that crappy top to it, so you have to go to the secondary market, find a good top, right? So here we go. Here's SCX10 as a keyword, right? Tamiya is a decent keyword too. But yeah, you can see that everyone wants this New Bright body on their awesome truck. Here's a New Bright body right there. There's a New Bright body right there. This one doesn't say it, but I guarantee you it is. And here's another one. This one's one right here. It says New Bright right there. You can barely see it. This is definitely one. I just know this because I've hustled this one many times over. So just remember the New Bright Jeep body, very important. New Bright also makes Hummers. And the Hummer body is okay. It's not like super sought after. So yeah, this is the Hummer body. It says body only, even though it's shown with a truck, it's not the whole truck. Trust me, it just says body only. So body only, yeah, you can get some money for that if you can find it. In real life, it looks like this. It's really big, and it makes sounds and stuff. But I guarantee you, whoever bought this didn't care about the vehicle. So you could, save a lot on shipping and just take the body off and ship that off. Here's another one. Here's one right here that took the body off. It's just fine, except now you're not incurring any crazy shipping charges. And here we have another one that's on someone else's, or actually I think that is the new Bright crawler itself. We have more bodies. And the one that's cool, there's a Land Rover body out there. This is a terrible picture. Like, never take a picture like this. You want to take it sideways, good light, with the body off, okay? With the body off. No one cares about the rest of this stuff. They want that body. They want that body, guys. Here's the new Bright Land Rover one. Pretty cool. I've hustled this one before, a couple times over. I never found the black one, but I found this one. This one looks like it's missing a light. I'm real intricate about, like, when I do my listings. Like, I notice certain things. You want to definitely see how they have to have these mirrors on the side. They don't have to, but like if it doesn't, like this one looks like it's shaved off, then disclose that. Still will get good money, but if you disclose, you lower chance of return. Some have the Swamp Dog Jeep Wrangler. The reason why I think people want it a lot is because it has these removable panels, I think. So we can see like removable panel back and all that kind of stuff. So that's a cool look to a crawler. And then this is one of my favorite ones. I found this many times over. The new Bright FJ Cruiser comes in 2 colors, I think, blue in this one. This is kind of a common one too. I showed this on a ride along not too long ago, probably 5 or 6 weeks ago. I found one of these, and mine sold for, well, yeah, anyway. It sold for good money. So yeah, it's a really, really good market. You can see right here. Some people just didn't do good keywords. You can see right here. 4x4 rock crawler, hard body. You want to put scale, crawler, 110 scale, new Bright, axial, and SCX10. You're missing some keywords, buddy. Anyway, and then yeah. So some of the crappier ones that no one cares about are down here. Don't know. This is just ridiculous. Like new Bright, rock crawler body only, 110 scale. This is just, he got ripped off. You need to hold out for that price on this one, because these right here will sell for about 60 to 80 all day. So hopefully that kind of tells you what's going on with the crawler bodies. Are you guys learning anything? Just let me know, because I tend to get lost in doing this. Now here's a question, Toast Cushman. How do we tell if it's a new Bright buying it used? Because it has stickers on it. See, like this one says new Bright right here on the side. So look real carefully for the new Bright ones. Are like pretty much, they say new Bright in many places. We'll go to the FJ one, and you can see new Bright is right there, right? The Jeep ones have it on the windshield, sometimes on the side as well. Let's say you were going for the Land Rover Discovery one, or let's find that one real quick. Here we go, Land Rover, right? With really bad keywords. And new Bright is sitting right, oh God, right here. So the words are on it. Just take a look at it. Look how scale it looks though. See, the person that's buying this is wanting it for this intricacy, like the bumpers there, grill for the lights and stuff, snorkel on the side. Doesn't look like a snorkel, but it's supposed to be one. Roof rack. This one has, looks like it's missing the side mirror right there, but it has the other side mirror on that side maybe. So yeah, so that's what you want to be looking for. Great question, by the way. Great question. If there's any way I can clarify some stuff for you guys, let me know. You definitely want to measure it. You don't have to put it in the actual thing here. But if you can't measure it, then just look for someone else's listing that has the exact same thing, and then likely the measurements in there. But you really want to mess with only 4 distinct bodies, okay? One is, and there's kind of a little bit more of a rare one. I don't know if I can find it, but maybe I'll try to. But you want to find the Hummer one, the Land Rover one, the FJ for sure, the FJ Cruiser one, and then the Jeep one, right? The Jeep one, which is this one. A 5th one as a bonus, if you can find it, is this one. Blue cage, fold down windshield. There was one other thing I wanted to tell you guys. Oh, here's the blue FJ right here. See? Remember how I said like between 60 and 80? This is the right way to say it right here. So that's a good one. And the blue one's a good color too. People like it. All right, so let's take a look at, let me see if I can find that last one. So there's that. There's new Bright crawler. I think there's also one by Nico body, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is the FJ. I don't know why people are saying, people are taking the FJ one. It's a Nico one. So like the FJ definitely was produced by Nico. I'll show you real quick. You see people just putting the bodies up there, right? 3 bids, $56, $12 shipping. An item that you can find in a garage sale for like $3 or less right here. So that looks pretty good. The mirror's there, rack's good. They don't come with bumpers on the FJ ones, but they will have some cool stickers on the side, which some people probably will peel off to make their own scale crawler. This is what it looks like when it's untainted and like when you don't take it apart from the body, it looks like this. It's a terrible crawler actually. But they're 4 screws, okay? And that's all it is, and you take that body off, and then you put the body on eBay. I mean, it's pretty easy to do. So let me take a look at, so here's some crawler bodies right here. And here's a really hard one to find. I think Raycon might have found one of these, but this is pretty cool. It's the Nico Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. So this is definitely a hard one. This is a $100 one pretty quickly. And yeah, so it's a really cool looking crawler body. And you can tell just by looking at it, it's like definitely better condition. I mean, better than most crawler bodies out there. I mean, see how like much more tougher this looks? Like this is real plastic, not some thin, crappy plastic that some of those hobby grade ones come with. And this dude, I don't know what he's doing here with his finger. But yeah, so it looks like there might have been some piece of a trim that was like off that windshield that got yanked off, but at least he's doing good pictures. And yeah, with good pictures comes good, you know, things like that. It's a $100 crawler. I think I'm in solds, right? Yeah, I'm in solds. So yeah, that's a $100 body right there. Okay, so hopefully you guys understand it. The mostly when you're dealing with these crawlers, the measurements that you want to kind of look at, I always say 17 to 22 inches or 17 to 24, but I would be willing to bump that up to like 19 to 24. So if you have a chance and you have a, you know, a ruler around, somewhere between 19 and 24 is pretty important. I wonder if this guy like actually put the measurements down. I think the Nico is like at 19. But anyway, if you need to find the measurements, most people would have it on the listing, or you can just do it yourself. You definitely want to have 2 measurements when you list. Well, you're going to have 4, okay? One is going to be the overall length. You're going to have the height, the width, and then wheel well. You want to have from the center of where the wheels would be to the other center of where the wheels would be. That's important. So, okay. So I guess that's that. Man, I am dragging the show on, huh? Are you guys learning something? As long as you guys are learning something, I'm good with it. Do I ever buy poorly listed items to resell on eBay? I have done that before, and it was remote control related, or radio control related. Yes, I did do that, and it did okay. But I don't do it normally. That would be basically, to me, that's like online arbitrage, really. You don't leave your home or anything. You just kind of stay online, and things come to your door, and maybe you repackage them and you ship them off. So, yeah. So I hope we're good on the content. 48 viewers in the house. Uncle Picker says bona fide for president 2020. All right, cool. All right, so yeah, just want to make sure that everything's good. Okay, I was just looking at the comment feed. You know, running these shows is not difficult, but the comment feed can go kind of fast, and so you have to, you know, be on top of it. There's a question right here from Mr. Gaelic Man. Curious thing is that are the bodies interchangeable? No. So they're just kind of retrofitted on the hobby grade cars. So when you buy a hobby grade car, it comes with this really thin. Oh, you know what? Here, I have one right here. I just happen to have this sitting here because I demonstrated it on a private show that we did. Not for the green room, but for something else. But this right here is a hobby grade body, not a crawler body, but just a typical body that you would get from a hobby grade car that you would spend like $400 or $500 on. Okay, this is what it looks like. Now you see how like thin this is? Watch this. See, I'm just bending that. You see what I'm talking about? And like I said, right where the thing meets the actual, how do I say it, body mounts, right? Which is right here, 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 and here. Since this is kind of like a Baja trophy truck, see how I said that they crack right about there? This one's cracked right there. This one's cracked right there. The wheel wells, if it has a lot of suspension travel, they'll crack as well. Or things around the wheel wells, like this one has a crack right here. You can see, right? This is a very flimsy body, right? But this is what comes on these $500, $400 cars. When you go to the hobby store, the real hobby store, this is what you get on top of your investment. And it's meant to be there, so it's lightweight, it's interchangeable, and it doesn't really compound the damage of the car. So if the car takes a tumble, like if this was a lot stronger, like super strong, it would probably compound the damage, meaning it would affect more things and it would be cheaper to like replace just the body. Now, believe it or not, an unpainted body of this is like $30. This is a Traxxas Slash. A completely painted body is probably like $40 to $60. Something in this color scheme, if like I hadn't messed with it, would probably still be worth like $60. Like nice. So they give you stickers and you can put stickers on it. But this is not, you know, when people buy those crawler trucks, the hobby grade ones, they come with these thin, what they call Lexan plastic, which is this. They come with these things. And it's just not good enough, right? When you're crawling around, you know, if the thing takes a tumble, that's one of those things you're going slow enough to where the body actually helps protect things. And so you don't want a flimsy body like this when you tumble. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Yeah, when you get one of those Nico or New Bright ones, and you compare it to something like this, you'll get it very quickly. You'll be like, oh, okay, I get what Bonafide's saying, because there's a huge difference. All right, so there's that. More comments below. Okay. Oh, I like this question. So Jennifer M, how do I spend my hustling hours in the winter when the garage sales are down? I open it up to thrift stores, pawn stores, retail arbitrage, things like that. But that's, you know, in Austin, Texas, there are almost garage sales all the time. So there's just not as many as like March through the September month, but still, you can make it happen. I've had some of my best finds like right around this time of the year, you know, just for a short amount of time going out. There's just so many places to hustle. Like in this city, in Austin, Texas, we have thrift stores, we have Plato's Closets, Buffalo Exchanges, we have pawn shops, we have thrift stores that are affiliated not with Goodwill or Salvation Army, they're just affiliated with other things, St. Vincent, all that kind of stuff. Then we have, of course, the big box stores. Then you have what I consider, you can hustle places like Academy, Barnes & Noble, like things like that. There's just a lot of opportunity. And of course, since we built the green room, we spent a lot of time on that as well. So there's that. Then of course, there's the local bike flip, which is not uncommon for me to go to Craigslist, find a bike, house it for about a couple weeks, and then put it back on Craigslist. So there's that hustle. Many hustles to do on Craigslist to Craigslist, by the way, many. Craigslist is one of those really good places where you can do the OA thing pretty nicely, meet at a gas station close to your house or maybe close to their house. That's a really good way to hustle as well. I like that one. So yeah, anyway, I was working on a bike the other day that I was going to get for $75. I was going to put it on eBay for $500. And then lo and behold, the guy's like, yeah, I'll give you first dibs at 5 o'clock when I get off work. And I was like really excited about it. In fact, I put myself in that part of town at that time frame, so that way when he called, I'd be like right there. And then I get a text message at 6 saying, sorry, man, sorry to get back to you, but bike is sold. Someone really wanted it real bad. I was like, what the hell? But that's what you do with Craigslist. You know, Craigslist is very cutthroat. It's weird. But I do Craigslist to Craigslist hustles, you know, and sometimes Craigslist to eBay if it's a really, really good bike, which I do have a couple bikes in my garage that are destined to go to another avenue once I'm done messing with them because I like them. So, but I don't need to keep them anyway. All right. But yeah, and one of the best hustles in town during the wintertime, or during any time of the year, but usually the winter, is finding stores that are significant to Texas that maybe no one else has. And I'll give you a hint, but it kind of starts with an H and it ends with a B. But like that store, for example, there's 3 in town that are called HEB Pluses. And you can find some really good deals there. So that's a good edge because no one else has those things, right? Mr. Gagman says, Craigslist is the law of the jungle, and I like it that way. It kind of is. So anyway, yeah, and Jennifer M, at least he didn't flake. He was honest enough to tell me. It was just really weird because I know he put me at first dibs. He had like almost like a 15-minute conversation with me on the phone about it and everything, and I was like, I'm buying this bike. And it was a good bike. But anyway, okay. All right, let's talk about the last one. This is so broad that I'm going to try to do the best job that I can here, okay? The last one is radio-controlled cars and trucks, because every deal I've ever messed with radio control has never gone sour. I haven't lost a penny in radio control. I've made a ton of money on radio control, a ton. So ways you can get radio control type of stuff, garage sales, right? I wouldn't say it's common, but you can find it there. I have found sick, crazy radio control deals at pawn shops. I have found radio control deals at Goodwill of all places, right? I have found crazy deals at Goodwill for radio control, but not all the time. The most prominent places to find radio control, if you wanted to like really get into it, pawn shops are going to be relatively reliable. There's almost like anywhere between 1 to 3 cars or trucks in each pawn shop that's a radio controlled one. If you know what you're looking at, then that's a good one. The best hustle of all is going to be Craigslist and OfferUps and things like that, where you just get the lowball people. In fact, I'm working on a lowball. I worked on a lowball last week, didn't get it, but at least they know that I'm a cash buyer. I'm ready. Like, so if this guy gets into a tight little bind, he might go to my number first, and that's quite a frequent thing that happens when you deal with radio controlled stuff. So hopefully what I'm trying to accomplish here is to pique your interest on radio control, kind of what to look for, and then the brands, like very important brands to look for. But we're going to be looking at some really big markets. I mean, they're so big. And then, of course, there's that task of testing it out. But then again, if you can't test, they're kind of easy to test out, but you have to understand what is needed for a radio-controlled car to perform. Not optimally, just to like perform. So let's get to that first. Like, what do you need? A radio-controlled car is something that's controlled with a transmitter. There's a transmitter, okay, which goes in your hand. Sometimes it looks like a gun with a little wheel. Sometimes it looks like a rectangle with 2 little joysticks, okay? That transmitter needs a battery in it, okay, to transmit the signal to the receiver, which is in the truck or the car, which is X amount of feet away or whatever. Now that's irrelevant how many feet away it is, but the fact is there's no wire between, okay? It's wireless. Current day cars and trucks are going to run off probably 2.4 gigahertz, like a really strong signal that can let it go real far. And current day cars have just, I mean, we're looking at hobby grade stuff for current day stuff. When you're dealing with current day, you want to think hobby grade. Hobby grade is not the stuff you find at Target and Kmart and all that places. Not. It's the places, these are like one-off kind of stores that might exist in your town. But hobby is where the money is at, hobby grade. Now, if you go consumer grade, the money is in kind of 2 places only. One is crawler bodies, and the second one is retro and vintage consumer grade. There's pretty much only 3 brands. So let's take it from the very bottom real quick. I'll try to explain this as best as I can. When you're dealing with consumer grade radio control, you're dealing with places or radio control cars that were typically put in a box that has like a thin plastic thing so the kids can look right at it and go, oh my God, mommy and daddy, I want that thing. So that's typically found at a Target, Kmart, Sears, back in the day at least, Target, Kmart, Sears, Kroger's, malls, KB Toys, places like that. Usually made by one of these 3 manufacturers: Nico, Tyco, Radio Shack. That's pretty much it. All right, so those are your 3 kind of cheap brands when it comes to a vintage consumer grade radio control car. Now, radio control in the vintage days, there was a company called Nico which made buggies. They made trucks, and I think that was pretty much it. The boats aren't really worth a damn, but the buggies and the trucks are pretty good. So Nico, if you get a chance, get on eBay. In fact, you know what? That's what this show's about. Let's go into that real quick, and then I'll kind of give you a hint about the current day stuff, and then I can close the show out. I never like to leave my people hanging. I always like to give you guys the most accurate and best information I can. So when we go into vintage Nico, which is a consumer grade, right? We can see some pretty cool prices, but let's go to used because that's the way you're going to find it. All right, so here's one. The vintage Nico stuff, likely you're going to find those at garage sales. If you find them at thrift stores, they're going to be kind of beat to hell, and you might find pieces of them, but you might not find the whole controller and everything. When you're at a garage sale, you might find some of this stuff. So let's talk about what to look for. The trucks are cool. They're usually modeled after Toyotas, and they have monster tires, sometimes with spikes on it, really cool big bumpers, blowers, roll bars. Not uncommon to see a little smokestack on the side, see right here. So that's a good one to look for, right? Even better if it's in a box. Remember how I said the box is like transparent, kid can look through it? That's that right there. Here's a little old Toyota truck, basically $139.50, 25 bids. If you have the Testarossa, which is actually pretty, it's not a very big car, but there's that one, the Porsche. This is the Turbo Panther. They have ones called Lobos, which are real cool. Frame buggy. This is one called Bison. The Lobo is really good as well. If you can find the Lobo, here's one. So Lobo 2, Lobo 1s, those are all good. But we can see even like Wow, even a motor, huh? No, but this one's pretty rare. I've never found one of those before, but I've actually hustled a fair amount of these. But you can see that the Nico ones are definitely something to look for, vintage Nico. The trucks seem to do really well. Like I found this one before, Scorpion, not too long ago, within a year ago. I hustled that one. There's a whole bunch of them. Some even have working, or I think it's the Radio Shack ones might have a working winch. Like here, no, this one. I've hustled one of these. The winch actually works on this truck. It's pretty cool. So that's pretty neat. If you do find, like, remember how I said the boats are not worth a damn, except for a couple, like the Shockwave is one of them. Really hard to find though. Really interesting foil design on this boat, by the way. If you ever get a chance to check it out on YouTube. But the buggies, cars, I mean, even the submarine, never found one of those, but I know to look for that. But usually when you're dealing with Nico, you're dealing with buggies and cars. So here we go, Hurricane. This is a four-wheel drive with a shaft-driven thing on both sides. I mean, I know too a lot about these things. These are really cool cars. So there's the first brand. The next one you want to look for, guys, is going to be vintage Tyco. This is going to be a bigger market because they just produced more, and this stuff was so awesome back in the day. So what we're going to do is we're going to go vintage Tyco RC because we don't want the slot cars to come up, even though those are good to look for as well. But here we have vintage Tyco RC, and there's just, let's go to the, hold on, used. If you're lucky enough to find a new one of these, man, you are lucky because they're super hard to find. But we're looking for things like Bandit, Scorcher's really cool. I've never seen this one, the Aero Hopper. But they have one called Hopper. Here's one really rare. Back in the day when I was a kid, this was one of the cars I wanted so bad when I was in San Francisco, and I went into a Sharper Image and I looked at this thing. I kept looking at it. I studied the hell out of it. I know exactly what powertrain it has in it. I wanted it so bad, and guess what? I never got it. But I also wanted this very bad, and I never got it too. So the Bandit is one of the leading ones to look for. This is really, really pretty. This is cool too. It also comes in Porsche, and it comes with like IndyCar in those two like models as well. Bandit is really, really hard to find, but it's very much it's hard to find intact, but it's one of the lead ones you should look for. The Outlaw's cool. Here's two Countachs right here. If you ever find a Fast Tracks, they look like half tank, half speed car or speedboat. Very, very, very tough to find. I think it's really cool. They have the Ferrari type one too, and yeah. So they have Bandits and mini Bandits. They make even small Bandits. They have full size Typhoon, mini Typhoon, mini Fast Tracks, full size Fast Tracks. This company went all out and freaking won the market. So yeah, as you can see, 10 scrolls down and look at all these prices. They're still alive and well, doing super well. But yeah, so that's definitely the other manufacturer you want to look for, these vintage Tyco. And you might ask, like, how do I know it's a Tyco, blah, blah. Like, just look at it, right? It says Tyco right there. They're going to say Tyco at some portion of it, almost every one. A little bit of a hack of a Tyco product are these things called super rebounds or rebounds. That's kind of a RC hack. This is a very common vehicle you can find in garage sales. So be on the lookout for this weird looking thing right here. But yeah, it'll say Tyco almost everywhere on it. Tyco here. It says Tyco right there. But yeah. Okay, so that's that. And then the other one that you want to do consumer grade is going to be Radio Shack. After this, I'm going to leave you with a couple brands to look for when it comes to normal grade stuff, and then you should be good to go. So we have here Golden Arrow. I have sold Golden Arrow about 5 or 6 times over. And half of those I've never even found the controller. If you get the right kind of car, the controller doesn't matter anymore. You know, someone can bind it and figure it out and then get it running again. But here we have Trespasser. This was shown on a ride-along about a year ago. I found one of those in a box. And there was another one I found in the box that same day. I don't know if we'll see it here. But essentially, this is what you're looking at. I've hustled this one about 3 times over. And yeah, so take a look for those right there. Definitely a good brand. Okay. And I have a sneaking suspicion that Tyco and Radio Shack had things going on behind the scenes because their controllers are almost identical. So either it was just rebranded as Radio Shack or something, but they share a lot of commonalities. So take a look for that as well. When we're dealing with actual hobby grade RC, then you want to deal with these brands right here. So you want to deal with, I'm going to show you, it's going to be really hard because this market's going to be so big. These are the brands you want to look for. Before we go into that, there are 2 vintage RC brands that are hobby grade that you should know about, okay? One is called Tamiya. Gotta look at that. That's so important, guys. Like, this is a very important brand. I have hustled this brand so many times. I've found broken cars, I've found intact kits, I've found it all, but like, this is one of the best ones. This is probably one of the most rewarding brand to find. As you can see, if you find them in the kits, boom, big money, big money. If you find them out of the kits and it just happens to be one of the more rare ones, like the Bruiser or some of these Porsche ones, big money right there. These are all like Bruisers. Here's a Bruiser right here. Bruiser was like a 3-speed radio controlled truck, like really, really hard to find, like super hard. But anyway, they have so many models: the Fox, the Grasshopper, Ferrari ones, Super Champs, Texas Wild Wheelie, or there's a Wild one, there's a Wild something else too. There's just so many of these, and they're awesome to drive, man. These are the greatest. Here's a Super Champ right here. One of the best $50 finds I've ever found on Craigslist was a Super Champ that I put on eBay for $160, like a day later, sold. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, that's a great brand right there. Tamiya is good. You're going to also want to know about this one called Losi. All right, so vintage RC Losi, that's a good one. Losi makes some pretty cool, amazing cars. And then the last one, I think the JRX2, there's one called JRX2 Losi. I think that's what it's called. There it is. So JRX2 is probably the most common Losi you'll find out there. Great money for these things. Broken, just chilling, no remote control, nothing, boom. $100 right there. If it's completely ratted out, nothing on it, look at that. You know, prices are just still super high. No bodies, nothing, doesn't matter. The other one to look for is called Team Associated. This one has the RC10, which is the most iconic vehicle. RC10, RC10. So RC10 4-wheel drive, RC10 2-wheel drives, but basically the gold pan RC10, this is the manufacturer of it. And gold pan meaning has a gold pan, see? You can look at this, gold pan, very nice. I have sold a fair amount of gold pans, half of which I found on Craigslist. But yeah, it has an actual gold pan. Not real gold, but you know, you can see right there. Trashed or even like this, great money involved. You got to understand, this is a hobby where people trash things, so it's not uncommon to find broken things. When we go to current RCs, I want you to know about this brand. Very important to know this brand. Current day radio controlled Traxxas. You have to know this brand. This brand, I have bought so many vehicles from this brand for personal use. It's not even funny. In fact, not a large portion, but like a fairly good sized portion of my income when I was working as a consultant in corporate America, I gave to this company because I loved every vehicle they made, and I was buying all kinds of stuff. They're so much fun to play with. So you can see that whether you find the X-Max or the X01, this car can go 100 miles an hour. The X-Max, you know, these are all really awesome vehicles. They also make one, the most iconic one that you'll see in all your Craigslist out there is going to be called the Slash, S-L-A-S-H, and that's the body that I showed you here in my room. It's the most common Traxxas ever sold ever, but we're still in the 500 range, and like for me to find Slashes, I'd have to be probably page 3 because they shake out around $400 or so. Here's a Slash right here. It's like basically a Baja truck, right? Here's one right there. And Slashes are everywhere on the market once you get right around the $400 range. There's a Slash right there. They come in 4x4, they come in 4x2. They come with normal battery configuration, and they come with a really, really awesome battery configuration, also known as brushless. So that's that. Other brand that's real good, if you want to learn about crawlers, maybe you can find this. My last axial hustle I found was $60, found from the OfferUp. This is probably 6 weeks ago, and I think I sold it for $239 or $229.99 on eBay, something like that. But anyways, Axial, really good brand. You're going to want to know this brand because when it comes to crawlers, this is pretty much it. When you think Axial, don't think super fast kind of vehicles. Just think of vehicles that can handle all kinds of terrain, and they're just insane, right? So big money in Axial as the brand, especially when they start looking like real crawlers. Yeah. So bunches and bunches of off-road, crazy-looking vehicles. Axial is an amazing brand to hustle. If you can find it on Craigslist or OfferUp, lowball someone, you know, this is definitely the avenue you want to repost it on right here. Remember, they come with an SCX10. That's probably the most common one that you'll find that's very, very wanted. And then there's one called a Wraith, which is really cool that everyone likes too, but the Wraith market's a little saturated. The SCX10 market, still people want them. Like everywhere you go, like everyone wants SCX10. But the Wraith one, here's a Wraith right here. It looks kind of like it, but it's different. It's a rock racer, not a rock crawler. So it goes fast over rocks. So SCX10s are more scale, and then the Wraiths are more, see, there's like SCX10s everywhere. And then the Wraiths are more like fast. People blow thousands of dollars into these, right? Thousands. If I showed you these vehicles, the Wraiths, they come with all plastic linkages and plastic pans and plastic everything. This is all plastic, right? Let's see what this fool did to his. I guarantee this is thousands of dollars in this car. So, I mean, when you take a look at the bottom of it, or look at this, like this person just put crazy amounts of money into this thing. Yeah, look at all these like steel linkages and all this crap. I mean, what do these people do to these cars? I mean, if you want to see money like completely pissed away, like look at this hobby. So anyway, that's a really good brand. So you know, hopefully I gave you guys like a heads up. And the last brand, if you ever find it, even Tamiya current day is really good. So we can look at that, but you already know. So I gave you enough good brands. I think this show has definitely gone like 14 minutes over. I can get really sucked into like talking about this stuff because I really like it a lot. But I hope you enjoyed the video, right? It was really fun, like spending some time with you guys. I didn't actually make a super request for you guys to like the video. So please like the video. You know, if you thought I did a good job or you found some good content out of it, just remember these are the 5 things where I was like, you know what? What are 5 items that have no risk, you can buy for relatively low, and then you can you know, resell. So we went over Hi8 camcorders, ASICS shoes, Z-Coil shoes, crawler bodies, and then radio-controlled trucks and that kind of stuff. Now, majority of my radio-controlled type hustles were, I would say, $20 and below. But when I buy lots, like if I buy a lot of something, not a lot, but a lot, like I go to a pawn shop, like I'll take all of them, right? A lot. Then those tend to do really well as well. But those are a lot more infrequent. When I do anything off Craigslist or OfferUp, I'm surrendering about, my last one was 60, you know, $60 boat, $60 crawler, Baja truck. Yeah, so, you know, it's not uncommon to like surrender about north of 60 bucks, like just to get in online, because I don't think anybody on Craigslist or OfferUp is going to take anything less than 60 for anything that's substantial that could be worth 200 bucks or more, for example. So, but anyway, you know your risk accordingly. Once you get into the hobby, you're going to have to charge batteries and all that kind of stuff. You'll have to, you know, test things out. Just remember, a battery goes into the transmitter, a battery goes into the truck as well. That same battery usually powers the receiver, it powers the motors of the truck, the servos, the steering things, and the ESC. So as long as those things are linked together and you press go, the thing should travel forward, press forward, the thing should travel back. It's kind of hard to explain, but once you get the controller in your hand, you'll understand. But yeah, I hope it was a good show. Yeah, I think I definitely, you know, I think I addressed that person's comment yesterday, which was like, what are the best items? Like, what are the most fun items to hustle? This is it. These 5 items are the best one. This is it. So look out for those things. It was good to see you guys, and I will hook me up with a like, and I'll talk to you on the next Bonafide Hustler show. Take it easy. Bye-bye.